This is just a short video. Basically, it's about my disappointment with everybody, humanity as a whole, that people even have to make this research, have to like post the stuff. Um, there's enough out there, and if you have enough capacity to critically think things through, you just kind of know that it's not the world that they like to project. Everything you know is like false. And the CIA is just a very powerful entity with its ability to manipulate the conscious of the masses. And I beginning to realize, like, as I get older, that the conspiracy theories, or as they like to call them, they let them run rampant on the internet. They're starting but they know about their ability um to blockade anything that gets too close to the surface. And I've noticed that over the years, like when anything reaches the mainstream, it seems to just get like bogus. Like they can make anything look bogus or stupid. And I realized it with like occupation when they started doing uh, news coverage of that. They were just picking the stupidest. Like it was like the kids were actors to me. Like even behind the newscasters, playing on bongos, like just totally making that Occupy movement just look ridiculous. And I just thought the movement was kind of weird anyway. And I don't know. That was when I first started to think about like maybe they're just faking like every last bit of the media. And I don't know when that was exactly by date, but I just never believed in any of the actual news stories. I just thought we were being pitched bullshit just nonstop. Like I was 15 when 9/11 happened, and there were so many like gut feeling things that I was just like, wait, what? They just said some building collapsed. Like I remember watching the news while they were talking about WTC. Like I watched it pretty much nonstop while it was going on. Because at my school they allowed us to watch it during school, and then I went home. Basically, I had like a half-hour period where I wasn't watching it. Then I was just watching all the coverage, and it was sloppy day of, man. They were making a lot of mistakes. Um, and I remember like I caught the WTC 7, like they were talking about it, and then all of a sudden like I'd seen it, like they were talking about it all afternoon, how it was like it was like unstable or something. And I remember Dan Rather, I think he was CBS. He was like, "Oh, they're gonna demo." I remember him saying something about like they're gonna demo it, and that was like a slip up. I don't even know if that can be found online. It probably can, but it just seems sloppy. And from a 15-year-old's perspective, like I just know that you can see through the transparency of events, like your inner vision, which they try to smash with the way they set up our reality. um they try to make you go against your gut feeling constantly. um and that's why, like, I feel like the space hoax, if you start awakening to that, you realize that, like, even though it's only like a subliminal level, um you're just walking around and you're thinking, even if you're not thinking about it, like they have you under the impression that you're just floating here in space, and you're constantly going against your gut feeling. You have been for your whole life. So people can't even discern anymore because they're so attached to their emotions. And the media, I've noticed, has played up the heartstrings advertisement, everything. The egotistical, me selfies, having your phone and stuff on you at all times, the self. If you study any sort of like spiritual awakening, like knowledge, it's to get away from the self and to be selfless. So why is our society embracing this like indulgence in self? It's like it's everything is backwards. And when I started noticing that this was being pushed and that it's so opposite the teaching for like awakening, like it's completely imprisoning people in their own self. And that's why the hoaxes work. That's why it all works. And it's the design. Like, these are the builders. You don't understand. Like, they're masons, but they know how to design society. Once you get a hold of energy, or in our case, money, you can design your society the way you want. And as long you're working with numbers, and as long as us, like our crowd, they label the loonies, as long as it doesn't get to a tipping point, which is a book by Malcolm Gladwell you should read, and it's about statistical analysis and how every trend reaches a tipping point, and then it will set it into, becoming a reality. You can trace back any trend. I forget what trend the book started with. You can take the information as however you want, but it's a great book. And I think everybody who's in the truth movement should read it and understand the mechanics that they are using to keep us suppressed. And to me, the disinfo tactics that they use are so transparent to me, but like I don't know if it's just like I have the ability to see it, having the marketing background, having studied stuff my whole life. And Russian Vids had said something recently about it kind of takes a lifetime of research, and it does. I've had a lifetime of doubt from the beginning. Like I've only saw math. I've always been interested in math. And I felt like it was one of the only true things that they were teaching in school. Like history it was just like, okay, well, this is how they want you to hear history. And science. I was always like a proud believer in science, and then I started looking into, I doubted the moon missions. Looked into some space after coming back to research. Like I don't typically like to do this. I didn't even expect myself to be making a movie, but I came back because Orlando was just like, I hadn't been following much, but I just knew there was like, I could see the agenda, what little like bits and pieces of I was picking up from the mainstream. So you got to understand, like when I come back to it, I had not been programmed. Like television is just programming. It's grooming. It like, even though you don't think you're being programmed, like they're subliminally hitting you with shit like nonstop. Like why do you think ADD and all these other like attention deficit like things like adults have it? It's because they're like it's a constant onslaught of embedded commands, constantly, whether it be an advertisement, the subliminal message, the coloring. Like, I mean, even I've only been alive for 30 years. Even the amount of time I've been alive, it's like they've gone crazy with the amount of colors in the packaging. It's like ridiculous. Everything is just trying to get your attention, like grab your eyes. Like just like people don't even understand the subliminal knots that companies, we're not even talking about like these like theories about like just companies, man, just trying to lock you into the brand. And that's what got me disgusted in college. It's just like you're learning stuff to get like the best advertisement is word of mouth, and you're going to get that when you have a good product. But companies using advertising techniques and subliminal techniques, they want to make crappy products now and just basically mind control you into buying their product and using it at obsessive amounts. Like, you could use it at you could probably use like a Dawn bottle of soap for like a whole year, but they want you to, you know, in the commercials, everything is so fucking tactical. It's all calculated. It's insane. It's insane what they want you to do. Even from the standpoint of like I work a job, and just seeing how the degradation of tools over the past just 10 years. Like, we have tools from before that. They're probably like from the 1970s or something. They're all in solid condition. Like, we all still use those tools. And then now all the tools built now are like built to basically break. It's like, it's not even a thing anymore. Like, they don't even try to make stuff last. And you know, they can front all they want about like the green regulations. Well, whatever. They can, that's just another facade. Companies don't give a shit about green being sustainable and all that. They could give a shit. Like, that's just a facade, so you have to spend more on their product. They make a couple guidelines. It's fucking crazy. If they really cared about green, like, they would make companies, you know, have zero advertisement on their packaging in the supermarket. Like, all that money on dyes, like, the dyes are probably the worst part about it. Yeah, every single packaging has to grab your eye. It's absurd. And the cars, like, don't even last. Like, talk about green. Like, they're switching them up to be more green. Well, if they only last 5, if you're buying 3 cars for every one that used to last longer, how are we being more green? It doesn't make any sense. And it shouldn't make any sense. And that's why, while I was in school, I was just like, this is a bunch of garbage. Like, anybody that falls for this is just delusional. Like, I started looking in more into the subliminal stuff when I started realizing, like, the science behind pricing and, like, odd, even, odd, all these tactics. Like, when we get a death total for, like, an event, like, there is no mistake on the number. They want a believable number. Just like when they're selling you a car, they want a number that will grab you. It's all the same science. It's the same shit. And that's why, after being away from the I never really grew up on television. Like, one of my only things I can say that, like, I did a lot that, you know, wasn't television but was part of the system was, like, I got video game. And I don't doubt the video games are full of programming and all that. Like, I was definitely a victim to it. And it really is one of the only reasons why I don't, like, stay on top of things. But it was just crazy for me to see Orlando, and then not really, I just kind of, like, slowly started dissecting it, and it was funny, man. I didn't even spend that much time. And I'm already back. Just waiting to see what they do next.
If you can't win the game, if you can't solve the puzzle, then you're just a loser.
You know what? It's fine. Nier should be the one to succeed El. He's not like me. He never gets emotional. He just uses his head, like it's a game or a puzzle.